Before I get started here, I want to just let y'all know, every time I read this scripture, every time I read this and studied it, the Lord kind of pointed me in different directions. And before I knew it, I had like 6 or 8 pages of notes. So I'm sorry. Colton, I seen that look back here. But he also gave me the ability to take the notes and shorten them down. So he got me down to just 3 points and 3 questions. So hopefully I can get through them. I left my notebook back there with Sissy, so I didn't start opening it up and flipping through it and keep on. So hopefully we can get through this. And Brother Rick, I appreciate, Brother James, I appreciate y'all letting me get up here and helping encourage me to get back up here from where I've been in the past. And I'm not as nervous this time as I was a few weeks ago when I done this, but I'm still pretty nervous right now, but we're going to get through it. So we're going to go to our scripture today. It's going to be Exodus chapter 17. We're going to start at verse 8. So this is the Israelites' battle with Amalek. And I'm sure everybody in here has probably heard this scripture before, and it's probably been preached. Brother Hunt said something the other night that kind of caught my attention when he said that when he was preaching, he said there's pretty much everything in the Bible's already been preached, probably multiple times. You know, so this has probably been preached several times. I just put my own twist to it, or didn't put my twist to it. I put the twist that God give me to it. So it says, then came Amalek and fought with Israelite in Rephidim. I'm very terrible with spelling and words, so we'll call it that. And Moses said unto Joshua, choose us out men and go and fight with Amalek tomorrow. I will stand on top of the hill with the rod of God in mine hand. So Joshua did as Moses had said to him and fought with Amalek and Moses. And Moses and Aaron and Hur went up to the top of the hill. And it came to pass, when Moses held up his hands, the Israelites prevailed. And when he let down his hands, Amalek prevailed. But Moses' hands were heavy, and they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat thereon. And Aaron and Hur stayed up his hands, the one on one side, the other on the other side. And his hands were steady until the going down of the sun. And Joshua discomfited Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword. The Amaleks, just give you a little background on from their time of leaving Egypt. The Amalek continuously sought after the weakest of the Israelites, continuously attacked them from behind, always just kind of that pest that what we would call today as bullies. They found the weakest of people, they would go to them, and then they would attack them. And you can read back through, there's multiple places throughout before they get to this point to where it talks about this. So kind of when it come to this time, I guess Moses and the rest of them was kind of just tired of it. So Moses finally turned to Joshua. Joshua was like the leader of his military. Joshua was the guy he turned to when he needed the strength to go fight. So he turned to Joshua and said, "Hey, let's pick out some people, and we're going to go fight this. We're going to stop this once and for all." Now, this ain't the Bible. This is Brian's words here. He's kind of like, "Hey, we're done with this bully. We're going to take care of this bully. We're going to go fight this and stop this once and for all." I'm sure, especially me being in the military, and I've been in some war zones and stuff, I'm sure they were probably like, why are we fighting these people? They're bigger than us. There's more than us. Why are we doing this? But they had something on their side. They had something on their side. So that's what I want to make from I want to make 3 points. I said I had 3 points, so we're just going to get right to it. I want to make 3 points. So they were prevailing when? When Moses was holding his hands up, right? Moses was doing something. What was he doing? He was holding his hands up. Now I started to, and I even asked Brother James the other day if he had any weights. I was going to get him to come up here and hold some weights up while I was preaching to see how long he could do it. I was just going to mess with him. Luckily, he forgot to look for them, so I had to go in a different direction. He must have known what I was thinking. So I was going to get him to hold them weights up just so he could see that once you're holding your hands up so long, you're going to get tired. So while Moses was holding his hands up, they were winning the fight. And then when Moses dropped his hands, they started losing the fight. So it's just like us today in church or wherever we're at. When we're doing something, when we're raising our hands and praising, what are we doing? At that point, we're surrendering to God. We're surrendering ourselves, telling God, we love you, thank you, you first, us second. That's what we're doing when we're raising our hands. That's what Moses was doing. Moses was holding his hands up, saying, God, this is your battle. This is not my battle. This is not our battle. They went into that battle. Yes, there was a physical battle going on, but they went into that battle with the faith that God was going to take care of them. Moses had the faith. When he held his hands up, they were winning. When his hands got tired, better not do that, huh? When his hands got tired, they started losing. And that's when Aaron and Hur realized, hey, there's something going on here. Well, see, just like in our lives, we have to do something to win the battle. We can't just stand here and say, I don't know why God don't do this for me. Trust me, I'm the worst. I promise you, my wife can tell you. I've, like I said, he's called me one direction, and I turned and ran the other directions many times. I ain't gonna lie, if you give me half a chance, I'm liable to try to do it again. I don't know. It's not me. It's the internal man in me that says that, and it's also the devil trying to tell me. But it's really hard sometimes to not just stand there. Sometimes it's real easy to do nothing, ain't it? Well, when we're doing nothing, we're getting nothing in return. So, what did Moses have in his hand? He had the rod of God in his hands. The rod of God, it's just a staff, right? What power does the rod of God have? The rod itself has nothing. I can pick up that flower and it's the same thing. It's literally the same thing, unless I have the Spirit of God with me. Unless I do something, I raise my hands and tell God, it's you and then me. Let's do this together. If I don't do that, and I'm just standing over here going, I don't know why he won't do nothing for me. Maybe that's why he won't do nothing for you. It's a good chance you are the problem. Like I said, I know. I probably should have worn my own steel-toe boots this morning. So he had the rod of God, which had no power. It was the faith he had in God. When he raised it, that's where the faith was. He was raising it. That's when his soldiers were prevailing on the field. When they wasn't, is when he was tired. It's like how we get really tired sometimes and we don't want to do nothing, and we're just, I just want to sit in my recliner and not do nothing. So, you have to do something to get something. I see my wife looking at me. So, Anyway, that was the first point. We have to do something to make something happen. We have to surrender ourselves, reach for God, and tell God, hey, we need you. He can do it anytime he wants to, but he's not going to force himself upon us. He's waiting for us to say, Lord, I need you. So my second point I want to make is, yes, there was a physical battle going on, but this scripture right here, the more I read it and the more I understood it, it's a spiritual battle. It's not a physical battle. Yes, there was a physical battle, but it's a spiritual battle. It's good and evil. It's what we face every day. We're facing it every day. Watch TV just a little bit, you'll see it. Walk out the streets in public, and you will see it. It's everywhere. We're facing struggles today that I'm pretty sure probably 30, 40 years ago they would have never thought anything about it. And for y'all kids in school, I'm sorry. Y'all are facing things that my generation would have never had to face. You know, the biggest thing we had to face was somebody calling us a name or something like that. And y'all have so much more to worry about. That's the spiritual battle. Who's in a spiritual battle in here today? I guarantee you everybody is. You might not, if you don't realize it, you might want to start praying a little bit. Just say it. I know I struggle with it on a daily basis. It's really, really difficult, and the only way I can win is how. I can go back to point number one, right? I can go back to point number one. The only way I'm going to win my spiritual battle is if I surrender myself. When the Israelites realized Moses had surrendered himself, when Moses surrendered himself, he was up there raising his hand, surrendering. He was praying. That's when they were winning. When he got tired, that's when they started losing. When they realized that's when Aaron and Hur stepped up. And this is going to bring me to my third point. My third point's a little longer than my first 2 points. But that's when Aaron and Hur stepped up for my third point. See, when we're in a spiritual battle, we have to give up ourselves, right? We have to do something to get something. The third point is support. Aaron and Hur realized what was going on. When Moses was tired and said, I can't do this anymore, and they seen their people losing, Aaron and Hur said, wait a minute, let's do this. They pulled up a rock. They had him sit down. Well, he still couldn't hold up his arms, because no matter how much you sit down, if your arms are still tired, you're still tired. So Aaron and Hur stood there on both sides of him with his elbows on their shoulders, his arms on their shoulders, holding his arms up so he could win. See, Moses had support. Now, most of y'all know me, know I'm in the military, and I don't know, I guess I kind of take everything back to the military thing, but I'm in what you call a armored brigade combat team. We have tanks, Bradleys. We have the most deadly ground force in the world. We have the equipment that is probably 5 times more deadly than anybody else in the world. Myself, in my unit, we're called a forward support company. So when my tanks and my Bradleys are going up there fighting, I'm standing right behind them. I'm kind of like Moses on the hill watching them. And I'm kind of, oh, hey, there's a tank broke. When that tank broke, that's when I come into play. If they're out there as a forward support company, it's just like Aaron and Hur was supporting Moses' arm. We have to support them with food. We have to support them with ammo. We have to support them with fuel. My job is the maintenance. If something breaks, that's when they start calling me. Most of them, they know who I am. But most of them don't want to see me because they know if they see me, it's because something's broke. And trust me, when you get, I'm not going to get into the numbers of how many tanks we have, but when you start getting more than 2, 3, 4 tanks that are broke, everybody wants to see me at that point because they want to know what's going on. Why are these tanks breaking? I give them the short answer. They usually don't like that because most time it's their fault. we have acronyms for that I'm not going to get into here, but that's just it's just the way it is. But they don't care that I'm sitting back here. They don't care what I'm doing until it's broke. Then they want that support. Without that support, y'all know what that tank is? It's a 70-ton paperweight. If they can't get ammo, they can't fire. If they can't get fuel, they don't move. So it becomes a 70-ton paperweight with 4 people sitting on it being like, this tank won't do nothing. I've heard it. I can't tell you how many times I've heard it. I'll get a call and say, hey, this tank is dead in the middle of the battlefield. What's going on? I don't know. Did they check the fuel gauge? And then, no, we checked the fuel gauge. I was like, well, that's probably your first problem. Did you fill up before you roll out? No, the fuel gauge said it was full. 9 out of 10 of them, the fuel gauge is broken. You fill it up before you roll out. And that's what happens. These people are not real smart. That makes you feel better. You get people that are not real smart, but they got the most powerful thing that rolls around on the ground that you could think, I about better stop before. Yeah, y'all going to have a lot less faith in them than the United States Army for long, won't you? But I can promise you they will, when it gets down to it, that when it comes down to time, they're ready to go. It's because they have all the support they need. So this support goes both ways. When I need support, I always have my wife. She's there to support me. So my question for you is, do you have the support that you need? Are you supporting someone else? Sometimes everything is great in our lives. When it's great in our lives, that's when we're supposed to reach over and pick that next person up, hold their arms up, put their arms on our shoulders. Pick them up, carry them, whatever you have to do. That we have to support them to get them through their spiritual battle. If they're too tired to hold their arms up, hold them up for them. Get your arms up with them. We have to get through the spiritual battles together. We have to surrender ourselves and get through the battle together. Now, like I said, every time I read this scripture, I kind of went in different directions. But there was one part of the direction that was always the same. And I just wanted to take just a little bit of time on this. Within the support system, that's always, we have to support from the bottom up. Our country is in a bad place. So I'm going to ask, and I'll be the first one to admit it. I'll gripe and complain of what's going on around this country. I'll gripe and complain about it all day long, and then that's where I stop at, is griping, complaining. How many times have I stopped and prayed for them? How many times have I stopped and prayed for our leadership in this country? I've done it a few times when I realize, why am I griping and complaining about it? I can't change nothing by just saying, hey, this guy's not real smart. I really can't. But I can drop to my knees and raise my hands. I can do something. And that's how we're going to get out of the spiritual conflict that this country's in. Is as a group, we have to stand side by side, raising each other's hands, supporting each other. And if we're not doing that, we're not being the church. And if we're not being the church, what are we doing here? Just a question. We're not going to be the church. Let's be the church, not play the church. You know, the world's full of actors. We don't need to be it right here. So, I just wanted to take just a little bit of time and talk about some of the support that we have right here. Last time I preached, I kind of told y'all about some of my background, why I hadn't preached in so long. But we have some of the most wonderful pastors and associate pastors that you'll ever find. God. Yes, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for God. But Brother Rick, Brother James, Sister Audra, Mallory, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for y'all. Sissy, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. I can't tell you how many days went by. There was very few days when I was in my struggle, and I was in a struggle for a long time. There was very few days where Brother Rick or Brother James, one, wasn't calling me, just saying, hey, you doing okay? How are you doing? How are you doing? If it wasn't for that, I probably wouldn't be standing here today. I don't even know if I'd be married today. It's highly likely I wouldn't have made it through my marriage if it wasn't for the support that we had from y'all. And I want to thank y'all for that. So with that, I just want y'all, I think most everybody here already knows how great they are at supporting. But like I said, that goes two ways as well. I guarantee you they support everybody in here. I wanted to ask you one simple question. Don't answer it out loud. Are you supporting them? Are you supporting them? So and I'll just kind of let you ponder on that for a minute. Like I said, I had 3 points. Hopefully I got through them points fairly decent. And I've got 3 questions. So I've kind of asked these questions, but I'm going to ask them again because I want you to really think about them for a minute. The first question is, are you in a spiritual battle? If so, how are you dealing with it? How are you dealing with it? Are you standing over on the side saying, I don't know why this won't fix itself, or I don't know why God does this to me? Well, God's not doing it to you. Most of the time you're doing it to yourself because you didn't ask Him to fix it. So, are you in a spiritual battle? If so, how are you dealing with it? That's question number 1. Question number 2, are you surrendering? Are you saying, Lord, it's not in my hands anymore. It's in your hands because I can't deal with it. I can't do it. We see what happens with me every time I deal with it. I try to run the other way from what God's telling me to do. So obviously I'm not the best person to deal with it. You break a tank, I'll go out there and fix it all day long. You get me in a spiritual battle and I might run the other way because it's just the way I am. I try. I've often asked why God called me to bring His word, but He did, so I'm trying to honor it. So that's question number 2. Are you surrendering to God? Are you surrendering your problems? Are you giving them to Him? Because He's willing to take them. Because some of us in here has got some really strong shoulders, but His are a lot stronger and a lot more broad than ours are. And He can take them. The last question I have for you is, who's supporting you? Who is supporting you? See, that's something we all need to know. We all need to know where our support is. Like I told you, I know where my support is, and I'm pretty sure everybody in here's got the same support that I have when it comes to that. But outside of this, who's supporting you? Because we all need more than one or two people. Once again, that's where we all need to stand up and support each other, right? Who's supporting you? The last little part of that is, who are you supporting? Who are you supporting? Are you standing over here saying, looks like that guy's having a lot of problems. I better stay away from him because I don't want his problems to catch on me? Or are you going over and lifting up his arms and helping him? A lot of times people that are having problems, they don't even know God. They don't know Jesus. That's when we have to go tell them about who God and who Jesus is. Because if we're not telling them, how are they going to know? So I just want you to think about them questions for a minute. Are you in a spiritual battle? If so, how are you dealing with it? Are you surrendering to God? And then, who's supporting you? And who are you supporting? Think about that for just a second. And as I'll ask Sister Mallory if she don't mind coming up to the piano. So while she's coming, if I can get y'all to stand with me. I just want you to think about this. I'm going to tell you, spiritual battle, the battle's over. We know who wins. We know who wins the battle. It's already been won. It's over. We like to hang on to it. We come to these altars and leave it there, and then we want to pick up a little piece of it, stick it in our pocket so we can take it back and talk about it later. Are you tired? Are you worn out from the constant battle? You feeling defeated because of the enemy? If that's the case, I want to give you time right here, right now. Surrender yourself. Surrender yourself. Give the battle up. It's not your battle. You have no business in the fight. The devil's going to let you fight it all he wants, but it's not your battle to be in. Let's give it to the ones that can handle it.